What's going on, Lead Gen Beast? Matty Ice here, Leads for Locals. Today, we're going to talk about what to do when your Facebook ads stop performing, or maybe they've just never performed at all. I want to walk you through my process of diagnosing a campaign that's not performing, at least the way that I want it to. I'm going to show you the specific metrics and numbers that I look at, and kind of the baseline, like the bare minimum numbers that I like to see as far as performance metrics go, and how they give me clues, or how they can give you clues into what is wrong with the campaign. What do you actually need to adjust? Is it the opt-in page? Is it your targeting? Is it your offer? Is it the ad creative, right? All these, there's a lot of different factors involved with the performance of an ad campaign. So we need to know what exactly needs to be adjusted, right? And that's where the numbers really can help us diagnose what part of the campaign needs to be adjusted. So, and then I'm going to walk you through some specific things that you can do, like changing the ad creative, changing the offer, etc. Right? So we're going to go through some actual campaigns that I've run in the past. But the first thing I want to talk about is the offer. And like, I'm just a very big advocate of leading with value first versus trying to book an appointment right away or trying to get a sale right away. I see a lot of people do this where they want to just throw up a Facebook ad and send people to, book an appointment when they've never heard of you before. And I'm not saying that it can't work. I just don't see it work very often. And it's because people have no idea who you are. The messaging probably isn't very clear. Like, why am I booking a 15-minute call? Like, what are the benefits that I'm going to get? How is this going to solve my problem? And a lot of times it's too much of a commitment from people in the beginning. Like they might actually be interested in your products and services, but you're asking for too much up front. So that could very well be one of the issues that you're having, is you're asking for way too much information, way too much commitment from somebody that has never heard of you before. And you're asking for that up front. Versus if you lead with value first, educate people, teach them something, get that light bulb moment to go on, answer a question, get into their head a little bit and start answering the questions that they might have about your products or services. If you can do that, and then you have a really good funnel and follow-up system in place, that can significantly, I've seen that, guys, significantly improve the performance of an ad campaign. Just that, like you don't even need to have the best ad copy, ad creative, targeting, whatever. I mean, your targeting should be good regardless. But if you change up the offer and you lead with value first versus trying to, get them to take action that would normally be, 4 or 5 steps down the sales process. All right. Start in the beginning with something like lead with value first. All right. Something that's very easy for your audience to respond to. Maybe I love running ads for free checklists, free guides, master classes, webinars can still work really good. Cheat sheets, something that can be easy for someone to consume. They don't have to worry about the pressure of booking a phone call in order to get access to or get their questions answered. All right. It's very low commitment for them. And this allows you to build your pipeline of leads that maybe they don't close right away. Maybe they don't pick up the phone right away. Maybe they don't book a call right away. Fine. But that's where your funnel and follow-up process comes in. And I talk about this in my digital marketing masterclass that I just put together and updated. I'll link that down in the description below. It is free. Make sure you check that out. It has some really, really good stuff regarding the funnel and sales process and putting these types of campaigns together and stuff. So make sure you check that out. But over time, as you follow up with people and you're providing value, eventually they become, they're very likely to become a client or customer of yours over time. Maybe they'll book a call in 30 days, a couple of weeks, maybe it's 6 months, you don't know, but at least you have them in your pipeline. So for me, your Facebook ad campaign should be all about building your pipeline, not necessarily booking a call or getting somebody on the phone right away or making a sale right away. It's about building your pipeline, because once you have that built up, now you can send whatever type of follow-up content that you want on an automated basis using something like GoHighLevel. And now all of that is working for you in the background. And of course, there's still going to be people that are ready immediately, and we want to give them an opportunity to move forward. But just consider that, guys. Think about the offer that you're putting in front of people right now. Is it resonating with people? Are people responding to it? All right. If not, you might want to change up the offer a little bit. And even if people have been responding to your offer, let's say you've been running ads for a few months now and it's been doing really well, but it's kind of, it's slowing down. You're not getting as many leads. We're going to talk about that in a second, some specific metrics to look for. But maybe you create a different variation of your offer now. So maybe you're having really good success with this checklist over here that you're offering to people. Maybe that's kind of slowed down. But now maybe you turn it into a cheat sheet or a masterclass or an ebook, a guide. Like change up the actual offer itself. Obviously put some different information in it, right? Different content, and see if that works, right? So testing out different offers is really important, and making sure that you're leading with value. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and share my screen right now that we've got the offer. I really wanted to hit that point home with regards to the offer, because it is so important. It's one of the biggest things that I've seen make the biggest difference when it comes to ad campaign performance, all right, is changing up your offer, leading with value first, all right? So I'm going to walk you through a couple of examples here, and let's look at these numbers, all right? So this was right here, business funding checklist. This was another like a guide or checklist, 10 things to lower business expenses. This was an ERC rebate. So this was like a direct call to action where like finding out if they qualified for the ERC tax credits when it was available, right? And you can see here, I mean, our lead costs are really good. So obviously one of the biggest metrics that we're going to look for to determine if our campaign is performing or not are the lead costs, all right? Because all the other numbers that I'm going to walk you through, all the other metrics could be a little just not very good. But if your lead cost is where you want it to be, then your campaign is doing pretty well. So you can see here our cost per lead, $5.20, 27 cents per lead here, $1.82 here, $3.39 per lead here. And we're asking for name, email, and phone number. We're using Facebook lead forms. Guys, Facebook lead forms for me, it's just out of all the campaigns that I've run on Facebook, all the different types of campaign objectives that I've used, lead forms are number one when you use them correctly. All right. And I've done separate training on using lead forms. Maybe I'll do an updated lead form training. If you guys want that, drop it down, drop some comments down below. Maybe I'll put that together just because there's very specific ways that I use lead forms that work really, really good, guys. And they are phenomenal for conversions, for generating leads, building your pipeline. You don't have to worry about, the page loading in time. You don't have to worry about, split testing different designs for opt-in pages. Not saying not to use opt-in pages. I'm just saying out of all the campaigns I run, lead forms are the best, easiest way to get a campaign going. All right. But, so our lead costs here are really good. All right. So, but let's say our lead costs are starting to spike. Well, now I'm going to start to diagnose what the issue is based on specific numbers. And then I will make adjustments to that later on. I'm going to talk about some specific adjustments that you can make here. So first off, let's talk about frequency right here. Okay, so frequency, if we hover over this, so this would be more relevant to your campaign if you've been running the campaign for a long time. Your frequency is going to go up over time, just as what it is. The average number of times each account, basically each person has seen your ad. All right. So the higher this number gets, the more the same people have seen the ad. Okay. So that can give you an indication of some ad fatigue. It might be time to, again, either change up the offer, but it's more likely you just need to change up the ad creative. I'll show you some examples of that in a second, but take a look at your frequency. If this is, here's the thing. Again, if your lead costs are where you want it to be, then frequency is not really an issue. I've seen frequencies above 3, which is like extremely high. That usually indicates very, very extreme ad fatigue, and it's time to change it. But the lead costs were still really good. So if it's still performing, why mess with it? You don't want to touch it. But if your lead costs are starting to go up and your frequency is really high, okay, you've just been running the same ad to the same people for too long. It's time to change up the ad creative. It's time to change up the offer. The other thing you can do, this is a little trick that I've just learned over the years, is you can duplicate. Usually what I'll do, like if the campaign, especially if the campaign's not performing in the beginning when I first launch it, I will duplicate the ad sets and basically reset the algorithm. And you can do that. Like if you have really high frequency and you have that ad fatigue going on, just know that if you duplicate and you don't change the audience, you don't change anything. Well, now you're just running the same ad to the same people again. So you're probably going to get a lot of duplicate leads. Just keep that in mind. But that is an option as well. Duplicating the ad set, it kind of resets the algorithm a little bit. And it's really bizarre. I don't know what it is. I don't know why this is the case, but I will launch a campaign sometimes that I've done for lots of clients, and it's always performed. And every once in a while, I have a campaign that does not perform. And I'm not really sure why, because I know it works. I've run it a dozen times. But for whatever reason, it's just not performing maybe in this particular state or whatnot. Because that's another thing, guys. Your geographical location where you're targeting, that does make a difference. Every state is different with regards to campaign performance, so keep that in mind. But sometimes when I duplicate the ad set and I just reset the algorithm and obviously turn off the old ad set, it starts to work. I'm not really sure why. It doesn't always work that way, but it's a little trick that I've learned over the years. Like sometimes you just need to duplicate the ad set. So give that a shot. All right. But that is something that you want to look at, frequency, if you have ad fatigue or not. All right. Now, let's go to cost per impressions, cost per 1,000 impressions. This is important. This is not really within our control. This is basically, this comes down to the amount of competition that is bidding on advertising space for the same exact audience. Okay. It's not much you can do about this. Again, every state, every country is different with regards to the level of competition. Obviously, the more competition, the more the more expensive it's going to be to advertise to that audience. All right. I've seen CPMs above 100, 150. I mean, really, really expensive. It's pretty rare. It shouldn't be that high. If that's the case, it might be an issue that you're just not getting enough engagement on your campaign as well. Because the more engagement that you get on your Facebook ad campaign, typically the lower your CPM is going to be, because Facebook is rewarding you for putting good content on the platform that people are responding to and engaging with. So they're going to reward us for that. So if your CPM, it might start off really high, but give it a few days. And if as long as you're getting good engagement on your ad, that CPM should go down. But this is something to pay attention to, because this is a good, here's a potential issue that we can diagnose here, is that you might be too specific with your targeting. Okay. Maybe you have too many layers. I've talked about this a lot on my channel. I like to use multi-layer targeting for my Facebook ads, so I can get very, very specific about who my ads get put in front of, right? I want to be very specific with Facebook. Like, this is who I want my ads in front of. So I'll do one layer. Let's say I'm going after, in this case, business owners that might be interested in funding. So my first layer might be business owner interest. And then my second layer might be loan interest, credit interest, things like that, right? So I'm going after business owners who have expressed interest in some type of credit, line of credit, funding, etc. Right? But sometimes if you get too specific, your CPM can be really high. Here's another, not really a trick, but just something I've noticed with regards to targeting and CPM with Facebook, is when you use interest, I don't typically run into an issue with CPM, like really, really high CPMs. The only time I've run into issues with really high CPMs is when I'm using demographics, job titles, employers, anything that's not an interest on Facebook. So I'll just show you an example here really quick. All right, let's go down into the ad set here. And here's the thing, guys, like if there's a specific job title that you're trying to go after, you could probably get in front of those same people by using a different combinations of interest. And it's going to be a lot cheaper for you to run your ads. All right. So that's why I rarely ever use demographics. Sometimes I will use income demographics, like the income based on zip code. I found that's acceptable. I haven't seen crazy CPM, like crazy high CPMs with that. But you can see here, I've got two layers of interest, right? Small business is my first interest. And then this one is credit cards, loan, or line of credit. Okay. But watch this. there's also, if I type in, let's see, business owner. Hello? No? Is it lagging? Let's see. Small business. Well, for some reason, let's see. I don't really care if it's small business owner or not. I just want you to see job titles, but it's not doing that. All right. So if I go to browse, oh, you know what it is? It is a special ads category. I can't use the demographics. That's right. Forgot about that. But anyways, the point is, like, if I were to type in small business owner, I mean, you'll see when I type in business, see how all of these are interest. You'll see job titles, employers, things like that. You want to try to avoid those as much as you possibly can. I'm just sharing this based on my experience, that it is far more expensive to advertise to those types of audiences versus using a combination of interest. All right. So just keep that in mind, guys. All right. So that's something to look at with regards to your targeting. Maybe people aren't responding to your ad. Are you targeted enough? Okay. Do you need to change up your targeting a little bit? Maybe you need to find some different interests that you can target. Okay. So one of the things that one of my favorite features with regards to targeting on Facebook is the suggestions box here. So if you type in just a broad general term for your audience, put that in as an interest. You don't have to necessarily use it, but when you click the suggestions box, you're going to get a lot of other additional interests that are very similar to what you just put in. So maybe it's time to try a couple of different interests as well. Maybe use a couple of layers. And to do that, all you're doing is clicking on narrow further right here, and you can add multiple layers. I don't usually do more than 3 layers, but it's up to you. It depends on who you're trying to target. All right. So in this case, I have 2 layers. So I'm very, very specific with Facebook. Maybe you're not being specific enough with your targeting. Maybe your targeting is too broad, right? So keep that in mind. Take a look at your audience size here. I mean, this is a pretty good audience size for $25-$30 a day. And like I've run ads to this audience so many times. I know that it will perform, but take a look at the audience size. Maybe your audience size is too small. Maybe it's too big. Like, you don't really want to be advertising to hundreds of millions of people, with $10 a day, $20 a day. All right. Try to narrow that down a little bit and get more specific. All right. So that's my spiel on targeting. All right. Let's continue to move through the different numbers here. All right. Here's one of the most important metrics for me when I am determining whether or not a campaign is performing, and what do I need to look at to change. It is the link click-through rate. All right. And to see this, you need to make sure that you change this right here, your columns, to performance and clicks. Okay. So change it to that. And the minimum link click-through rate that I like to see is 1%. If it's lower than that and the lead cost is where we want it to be, then I'll leave it alone. Okay. But generally, I want it to be a minimum of 1% link click-through rate. What this tells me is that, like in this particular case, I've got a 3.16% link click-through rate. So 3 times that. So what this tells me is that my offer is really good. My ad creative is good. My audience is perfect, because otherwise people would not be clicking on the ad, right? So if you have a 0.2% link click-through rate, that means people are just scrolling past your ad. They don't care about the offer. Maybe the ad creative is really bad. It's usually the offer and a combination of the audience. That's usually what it is. Because here's the thing, guys, is you don't need to be a master copywriter. You don't need to be a master graphic designer. I'm going to show you some examples of ad creatives here in a minute that you can use as inspiration and just change up the different types of ads that you're using. But if you have a good offer and you put that in front of the right audience, you could have mediocre ad creatives and ad copy and stuff like that and still do pretty well. All right. So link click-through rate. This is one of the most important metrics that I look at when I'm I'm analyzing the performance of an ad campaign. Anything above 1%, you're doing really good. Even if your lead costs are a little bit high at the moment, it should come down, because over time, as more and more people click on your ad, you should get more conversions. Now, that's going to lead us to the next potential issue with your campaign, is if you're getting a really good link click-through rate, but you're not getting conversions, what does that say? Okay, well, your ad is good, your targeting is good, but when people click on your ad, wherever you're sending them, it's not converting. So there's an issue with either the lead form or the opt-in page that you're sending people to, and you need to take a look at it. You need to go through and figure out, okay, what am I asking for? It's a lot of the times, it's usually, especially with a lead form, it's you're asking for too much information, or you're not making it easy enough for people to provide that information. So I'll show you what I mean here in a second. But here's the thing, is what we want to look at with regards to conversion. If we're using lead forms, the minimum conversion rate that I like to see is a 25% conversion rate on the lead form. All right. And all we do is look at our link clicks and compare it to the number of leads we generated. That's it. So in this case, we had 33 link clicks. We generated 24 leads. All right. If I just run that on my calculator here really quick, I think that's pretty darn good. So we're going to do 24 divided by 30. Divided by 33. Yeah, that's a 72. We'll call it a 70% conversion rate. That's pretty good. That's not bad. So anything above like 25, 30%, you're doing pretty good. Anything lower than that, you might want to take a look at the lead form and or your opt-in page and figure out, okay, what is the issue here? And a lot of the times it's asking for too much information. So let's actually take a look at the lead form here, since we're talking about that. And there's some specific things that I want to go through with regards to the information that you ask for in the first step of the funnel here. So we're running this ad to a cold audience. All right. We want to get some information because we want to weed out the tire kickers a little bit, but we don't want to make it too difficult to get what we're offering that we scare potentially good leads away. Okay. All right. So now again, I'm going to do a full updated in-depth video training on lead forms. I'll link that down below when it's done. Make sure you subscribe, of course, too. But let's take a look at this lead form, and we'll go to the intro. Well, the intro is not really important. Right here. So, okay. So actually, in this particular, okay, yeah, here it is. All right. So here's what I usually do with lead forms. I get name, email, phone number, and I'll ask at least one qualifying question, usually two, and they're usually multiple choice. Again, so I have a custom question here. How soon do you need funding for your business? And it's multiple choice. They can just select it here really quick. So it's not so difficult that I'm scaring away potentially good leads, but it's also not so easy to just submit a lead form really quick, because with lead forms, their details auto-populate in the form, and it's very easy typically for people to submit those. So we want to create a little bit of resistance to weed out some of the tire kickers. This helps to improve the quality of our leads. We can also use conditional logic as well if you want to improve lead quality. I've already done training on that, so make sure you check out the channel. Just search for conditional logic. It'll come up. But I usually add one or two multiple choice questions, because when you if you click on add question, there's different like short answer. I see people use a lot of short answer questions in their lead forms, and again, a lot of the times it's creating too much resistance. So if you're getting good engagement on your campaign, okay, people like you have a really good link click-through rate, but people are not submitting your form, you're probably asking for too much information, or you're making it too difficult to provide the information that you're looking for. So instead of a short answer, like having people type things out, can you create a multiple choice question where you give them different options, right? Like different ranges they can select. And then when you get them on the phone or they book a call, whatever, then you can verify and confirm that information later. But anything that you don't need right away, you can get that stuff later on. Right now, what we're trying to do is build a pipeline. All right. We're trying to get them into our digital ecosystem, so we don't want to make it too difficult. All right. So again, just to recap this part, if you're getting good engagement Okay. Your link click-through rate is above 1%, but your lead costs are still really high. Let's assume your CPM isn't too bad. All right. You're getting link clicks, but you're not getting conversions. You got to make some changes to the lead form. You've got to make some changes to the opt-in page, wherever you're sending people. Okay. All right. Now let's, I want to talk about, I was going to talk about ad copy a little bit, but honestly, guys, I have not seen ad copy make a huge difference when it comes to ad performance. Now, what I will say is you have to have good grammar and good spelling. Okay. If that's off, then you are going to scare people away. They're going to think you're a scam. You're whatever it is that you're offering is a scam. You got to make sure at the very least, like, you don't have to be a master copywriter. Okay. But you've got to make sure that your grammar and spelling is good. So double check it, please. All right. I'd be amazed at how many times I have seen people not take that seriously enough, and their ads do not do very well. All right. But with regards to ad copy, the way I write ad copy is I'm calling out my audience. I'm addressing the issue. Like, what problem are we trying to solve here? Here's the solution. Here's a call to action. Here's my offer. Here's the free business funding checklist, etc. And that's it. Like, and then my headline, I just do free business funding checklist. Like, whatever the offer is, that's what I put in the headline. That's it. I keep everything very, very consistent. What it says in my ad creative, ad copy, and headline, it's all consistent. When they click on it and the lead form opens up, it's talking about the business funding checklist. Everything is very consistent. So that's another thing to check too. With like, if you're getting good engagement but people are not converting, is where you're sending people, whether it's a lead form or opt-in page, is it congruent? Is it consistent with what you were talking about in your ad campaign, in your ad creative, ad copy, and your headline? All of that needs to be consistent, because if it's not, people land on your opt-in page or open the lead form. If I'm offering a business funding checklist, but then all of a sudden I tell them to book an appointment, that's not consistent. Okay. Or if I start talking about HVAC, whatever, right? I'm being facetious here. I'm being a little extreme with my examples, but hopefully you get the point. You want everything to be very consistent. Okay. Now, another thing you can do too is just start changing up the type of ad creatives that you're putting in front of people. So maybe you have that proven offer and it's really good. Just start changing up the ad creatives a little bit. See if that works, right? There's a lot of different types of ads that I like to run. Right now, my favorite is this post style ad. I've done training on this. I go through it in my digital marketing university and all that stuff, so you can check that out. These are very easy to create inside of Canva, guys. And it looks like a post in somebody's newsfeed. It doesn't look like an actual ad, does it? It looks like somebody is just asking a question in their newsfeed. So like, these get really, really good engagement. And it might seem like, oh, it doesn't look professional. It's just too simple. I don't care. Do you care if it looks professional, if it works? No. So do what works. Try it. Try it for your industry. Try it for your offer, and see if that makes a difference. So change up the different types of ad creatives. And Canva makes it so easy to create these, guys. This is a carousel ad right here. I haven't actually tested this one yet, but I've like this particular offer, but I've used this carousel ad template so many times. It works really good. People can swipe through, and this allows you to tell more of a story, provide more information about your product or service in the same ad. So you don't have to, put a bunch of stuff into the ad copy and, one ad image or video, whatever. People can swipe through. It's kind of like they're reading a story, like a little mini ebook. And if it's compelling enough and it makes sense, then it can work really good. So carousel ads, really good. And there's plenty of templates inside of Canva. I love Canva. I'm going to have an affiliate link to Canva down below, guys. If you want to support the channel, I'll have that down below. It's only like 13 or 14 bucks a month. It is absolutely worth it. But if I type in carousel here, look at all these different carousel ads that you can create. Like, these are templates. You come in, you change the text, and boom, you have a really, really good, engaging carousel ad that you can now put in front of your audience, and make it content based. Teach people something. Like, here's an example of one that I'm going to run here pretty soon just to test this out. But IUL versus whole life. So I'm getting into, I started a new channel on infinite banking and all that stuff. Just as a side note, stay away from IUL. It's 99% of the time it's trash, garbage. So if you're considering it, please stay away from it. But anyways, I basically, I took a template here and I'm putting educational content on here. That's it, that people could swipe through. And anytime somebody clicks on one of these in the ad campaign, my lead form will pop up, or maybe I send them to a landing page. It doesn't matter, whatever. I mean, I always use lead forms, but again, my point with this is just switching up the types of ad creatives here. Here's a pretty cool looking one. This is like a post style ad, but I put an image in the background and I just reduced the transparency, put a learn more button on here. Like and I'm offering the free masterclass. That's it. Like, it's just different types of ad creatives. And what I've noticed, and I'll just kind of wrap up with this. One other thing to consider if your campaigns are not performing is, are you running enough ads within your campaign? So with post style ads, I'll typically I only need to run one ad, but a lot of the times I will run a campaign. If I'm doing $20 to $25 per day for a campaign, I'll have 2, maybe 3 ads within the ad set that will allow Facebook to determine which one is going to perform best. Now, I'm only running one here because I already know this campaign works really good. But if you're testing different ad creatives, you can test a post style ad, test a carousel ad, maybe test 2 different types of post style ads. Here's another one. Static videos. I've had a good success with static videos as well. Let me show you one of my previous examples here, where it's basically just a video and I have text on it. That's it. So let's open this up. And again, all I did was use a template. I go through this in my digital marketing university, guys. On I have an entire section specifically on Facebook ads. Talk about LinkedIn, YouTube channels, Facebook group prospecting, all that stuff. But I show you how to create these types of ads in there. And if we preview this, it's just a cool video background. And I'm offering, in this case, a free investor's recession survival guide. That's it. I mean, do you think that'll get some people's attention? I mean, I think that's a pretty cool looking ad. But maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. You just have to test it out. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and wrap up with that, guys. This video, what am I at? 32 minutes. Hopefully that was helpful. Hopefully that gave you some things to consider and look at when it comes to analyzing your ad campaigns, the performance, and just diagnosing the issues with it. Because the numbers tell us what's wrong with our ad campaign. So when you know what to look for, then you know what to adjust. Is it time to duplicate the ad set and reset the algorithm? Do I need to change something on my lead form or my opt-in page? Do I need to get more targeted with my audience? Maybe less targeted, right? All these, like going through these numbers tells us, gives us an indication of what is wrong with the campaign, and then you can make adjustments accordingly. All right, so hopefully that was helpful, guys. If you have any questions, drop some comments down below. Any requests for specific videos as well, let me know in the comments section. And I hope you guys are crushing it, and I'll talk to you in the next one. To your success, Matty Ice is out.